Okay. Would you recommend South Korea for PhD or?
I would not say. Now in Korea's, I have seen this. Indians and Pakistanis are not allowed because they created some ruckus. I don't know. Maybe it was completely race driven, or it was just because few group of people created some ruckus.
But
Yeah,
in general, you will say a lot more racism and things than,
true, true.
for example, that you will experience in Europe or some other place, right?
Yeah, in Europe, you have, I've never faced it. I think the only limitation that we have in India is the funding that we receive from the government. Like, but here they fund quite really well, quite a big chunk of their GDP into the research. Everything is covered by the program, from flight tickets to your accommodation to the food. Everything is covered.
तो उसके ऊपर स्टाइपेंड मिलता है.
Yes, yes, of course. You get the stipend. Your
So
salary is
guys,
there.
so guys, look at this. This is a big perk of doing the Marie Curie program. You get to travel. Your traveling is funded, and at the same time you receive stipend, which is one of the highest in the Europe. I can tell you.
Right, we are Odia, and हम लोग lunch के बाद we take some time to sleep. Exactly.
That's
In
a bit
Spain,
मतलब.
they have this culture. They have, like, all the shops will be closed for few hours, couple of hours after the lunch time. It's called siesta time. They take a nap. It's called siesta.
Hello guys, welcome to another podcast. So today I have with me Swaroop. So we are going to have this conversation today in both in Hindi and English. So it would be kind of a mix, and the conversation will be a bit light, just like the previous podcast. It would be a little bit more serious than the previous podcast, but it would be still a bit more light podcast. And today I have with me Swaroop, who is doing his PhD in France, and in fact his PhD spans over multiple countries in Europe. So he is actually doing a Marie Curie PhD scholarship program. So he will give more insight about that today. So welcome, Swaroop.
Hi, Suraj. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, and if you could let's speak a little bit about yourself and the program, that would be great.
So as I said, like, right now I am doing a PhD in France, basically on quantum optics, and this is funded by the European project, the Marie Curie project. This is basically a training network which consists of a few other institutions and companies also. Like, we have 8 other research institutes spanned over Europe, and 4 or 5 companies who also benefit from the program. The main benefit of this program is that you get to collaborate with other labs. You can use their expertise to forward your research goals and objectives.
अभी तुम ऐसा है कि कहाँ मतलब फ्रांस में अभी तुम बेस्ड हो, राइट?
Yeah,
राइट, कहाँ? टुलूस.
Toulouse, yeah, south of France में है.
हाँ, अब और बाकी मतलब ये पूरा पीएचडी के दौरान कहाँ का मतलब तुमने रिसर्च किया?
जैसे कि मैं बोला कि 8 ऐसे अदर इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं. मैं बताता हूँ, सारे के नाम ही बता देता हूँ. मैं, एक
नाम नहीं
है
मतलब
जर्मनी में.
कंट्रीज ही बता दो, हाँ.
हाँ, हाँ, जर्मनी में एक है RWTH आकेन, और एक है मिलान, पॉलिटेक्निको डी मिलान. फ्रांस का हो गया CNRS में LNCMA, जो मेरा लैब है. CNRS LNCMA हो गया. मैड्रिड में एक है उनका ICMM CSIC का. जैसे कि CNRS हो गया, CSIR जैसे इंडिया का है, वैसे ही मैड्रिड का है CSIC.
हम्म.
उनका एक रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है. और पोलैंड में हो गया PWR, जिस पॉलिटेक्निको ब्रोस्लाविया. प्राग में एक यूनिवर्सिटी है वैसे ही. एंड उसके बाद जर्मनी में TU ड्रेसडन भी है.
मतलब ये तो काफी मतलब ऑल ओवर यूरोप काफी ज्यादा डिफरेंट डिफरेंट जगह पे
यस,
स्पैन हो रहा है.
एग्जैक्टली, एग्जैक्टली,
मतलब
एग्जैक्टली.
तो रिसर्च के दौरान मतलब ऐसा है कि सर्टेन मंथ आपको यहीं रहना है या फिर अप डाउन कंटिन्यूस करना है, क्या मतलब?
या मतलब ये डिपेंड करता है कि इट डिपेंड्स, लाइक, आपका रिसर्च कैसे जा रहा है. आपका रिसर्च गोल्स अचीव करने के लिए, मतलब ये पहले एक ऐसे, मतलब ऐसे टेंटेटिवली दे देते हैं कि आपको यहाँ यहाँ जाना रहता है, कि यू हैव टू डू दिस एक्सपेरिमेंट्स हियर हियर हियर. बट इट डिपेंड्स. जैसे कि मेरा पहले मेरा जो इंटर्नशिप्स प्लान हुआ था, मेरा TU ड्रेसडन में एक थ्योरेटिकल ग्रुप में काम करने के लिए था. बट मेरे जैसे कि रिसर्च एडवांस हुआ, मुझे लगा कि नहीं, मुझे दूसरे ग्रुप में ज़्यादा, मतलब मेरा रिसर्च जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है वो ज़्यादा फुलफिल होंगे. तो देन आई मूव टू मिलान ऑल्सो. तो थोड़ा फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है, बट नॉट मच, आई वुड से. आई थिंक I should also tell a bit about this. There is a downside to the Marie Curie project, is that the objectives are already defined. There is soft, like, boundary for you, and it gets a little bit tricky to work outside of this boundary. So you have a very confined space to work with. It's not as like with the other PhDs की जैसे कि अगर मुझे ये काम अच्छा लगता है then I can just explore around. ये मैरी क्यूरी में थोड़ा
डिफाइंड है।
आपका बाउंड्री रहता है. Yes.
नहीं मतलब ये डिफाइंड प्रोजेक्ट्स और डिफाइंड पीएचडी यूके एंड आयरलैंड में भी पॉपुलर है
हाँ.
जनरली। मतलब आप देखोगे बहुत सारे जैसे यूएस में खास करके लोग जाते हैं पीएचडी करने। द पीएचडी इज अ बिट लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन, राइट? 4 to 5
Yes.
years
Yes.
दैट कैन टेक फॉर पीएचडी। तो वहां पे इनिशियली 1-2 years जो है ये एक्सप्लोरेशन के लिए छोड़ते हैं। And let me tell the audience that Marie Curie scholarship program for PhD is one of the highest funded programs in Europe, and this stipend for this program is way over 3,000 euros, and this is one of the programs which pays you one of the best stipends for PhD. To be honest, it's even higher than what a PhD scholar gets in US. So I would say this is a very amazing program, and the competition is very hard. I was just looking at a few stats. The number is less than some 20%. Probably it's less than that. I could not find a definitive stats. So Swaroop, matlab, can you tell like in your PhD program,
Mm.
how many people applied? How difficult it was to get into this program?
Yeah, so before that, just let me tell you how this is structured, how this scholarship is more like structured. Like when you're talking about Marie Curie scholarship, there are two kinds of scholarship. One is for the PhDs, which is called as ITN, the training networks, and the second one is the postdoctoral, which is called individual fellowships, Marie Curie individual fellowships.
Postdoc means
मैं जैसे कि
after you do
after
PhD.
doctoral,
Okay,
yes,
okay,
yes.
okay.
यस. सो जैसे कि आईटीएन, जैसे कि मेरा जो स्कॉलरशिप आईटीएन प्रोग्राम है, एज आई सेड कि डिफरेंट लैब्स रहते हैं. सो इट्स मैंडेटरी कि दे सेंड आउट दिस एडवर्टाइजमेंट ऑन ए कॉमन प्लेटफॉर्म कॉल्ड एज यूरेक्सिस. सो कीप चेकिंग ऑन यूरेक्सिस, यू विल गेट अ लॉट ऑफ मैरी क्यूरी प्रोजेक्ट्स लाइक दिस. सो यूरेक्सिस को आपको चेक करते रहना है, एंड देयर यू विल गेट दिस मैरी क्यूरी वैकेंसीज. जैसे कि मेरे केस में क्या हुआ कि आई saw there were 8 labs and 5 of them were in my domain, research domain, let's say, because I was working on very close research field. So many I applied for 5 of the professors, and I was interviewed by one of them, and she told me afterwards that she interviewed around 25 people for this position exactly, and she had two positions, and one of them she had already given it to to my colleague from her lab already, who was doing a masters in the lab. Second जो था, she was interviewing and almost 25 people के around थे, 20 to 25. तो उनमें से she had just one person to select. So I would
Okay,
say it's a bit like competitive, on it depends कि
okay. Depends on program to
yeah.
program, but I mean, what I can
Yeah, it
hear
depends
from it.
also on the lab. It also
Okay.
depends on the lab कि कितने बच्चे एक प्रोफेसर को एप्लीकेशन करते हैं. It's
Mhm.
open application.
Yeah, but what I hear from you that it's around 25 people struggling for two positions, ideally. Like, and but maybe in this case you are
For one,
one
I would
position,
say.
right? Yeah, one
Yeah.
position. So yeah, that's a pretty competitive actually. Like
Yeah.
and it's a very well-funded program. It's a very
Yeah,
wonderful
exactly.
program. And one good thing is you. When I talk to you, like Swaroop has actually traveled with me to Albania. I think if you have seen some of my vlogs, in
Yeah.
that we have traveled together. So basically, and he left the tour in between because he had to run back to France for some publications, I think,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
How
We
many
we
publications?
were in the last phases of the publication, and I had to do some cosmetic changes to the paper,
Yeah.
so I had to come back
मतलब
to respect the deadline.
ये भाग के चला है मतलब बीच में ऐसा है। दैट वाज सो ठीक है, बट इट वाज अ गुड ट्रिप। तो एक बात
Yeah.
बताओ, तो वो पेपर पब्लिश हो गया? अभी कितना पेपर हो चुका है तुम्हारा?
Right now, I have almost 3 papers published, and
वाओ,
3 more are in the pipeline.
वाओ, दैट्स अ गुड। एक्चुअली बात
Yeah,
यह है कि हाँ?
a PhD, it's a decent number, I would
नो,
say.
एक्चुअली मैं एक बात बताऊं, यूरोप में ऐसा है। यूरोप में
Hmm.
जनरली मैंने बहुत सारे लोगों को पीएचडी करते हुए देखा है। बिना पेपर पब्लिश करते हुए भी यहाँ पे यूरोप में पीएचडी
True.
निकल जाता है, क्योंकि
Hmm.
3 साल का पीएचडी है। मैं फ्रांस में तीन तीन महीना इंटर्नशिप करने के लिए गया था ड्यूरिंग माई बैचलर्स। सो आई वाज इन द नॉर्दर्न पार्ट ऑफ फ्रांस इन कॉम्पियन, and this is also a
Company.
CNRS lab. So basically, they had
Hmm.
9 CNRS labs, and I was in the CNRS lab for biomechanics, basically.
Hmm.
So in that lab, I saw a few people who actually what happened is these guys didn't actually publish any paper, and their PhD
Ah.
was
Yeah,
through.
it depends on the, like, just think मेरे university में there is a condition that you have to like have one paper published and another in the like almost accepted manuscript, and you don't have to be first author in that. So it ये university के ऊपर भी depend करता है कि what are the criteria to graduate with a doctorate.
Hmm,
So yeah, यहाँ पे मैं देखा हूँ कि मतलब in Germany also probably I may be wrong, but I have heard that you can also have a doctorate without a paper. But this is research. You sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So
okay.
this is PhD. So
ओके। और इस प्रोग्राम में तुम जब डिफरेंट लैब्स को जाते थे रिसर्च करने, तो पूरा फंडेड था और उस पे फंडिंग के साथ तुम घूम के भी आ जाते थे नहीं?
yes, जैसे कि मतलब internship रहता है, everything is covered by the program from flight tickets to your accommodation to the food, everything is covered.
और उसके ऊपर स्टाइपेंड मिलता है?
Yes, yes, of course. You get the stipend. Your
So
salary is
guys,
there.
look at this. This is a big perk of doing the Marie Curie program. You get to travel. Your traveling is funded, and at the same time you receive stipend, which is one of the highest for in the Europe, I can tell you.
So yeah, so you get paid for the like if you are staying long, people prefer to buy their own groceries and all these things, which you are reimbursed. You have to produce the bill in a lab, and you get reimbursed for that. And house rent, ये सब covered रहता है. They all cover your stay abroad. And yeah, so main thing I mean, they want you to focus on the research. Basically, you don't have to worry anything else about anything else. Everything is covered, like from public, using the public transport in the city you are, to the flights. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
ओके। अच्छा, स्वरूप, एक बात बताओ कि
Hmm.
तुमने तो साउथ कोरिया में भी रिसर्च किया है, इंडिया में भी
Yeah.
रिसर्च किया है, राइट?
Yeah.
सो मैं थोड़ा साउथ कोरिया का जो एक्सपीरियंस है ये थोड़ा ज्यादा पूछना चाहता हूँ। अभी साउथ कोरिया में कितना टाइम आप थे, और वहाँ का एक्सपीरियंस कैसा था?
वेल, साउथ कोरिया में मैं सियोल नेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी में था। तो आई स्पेंट अराउंड 3 to 4 months रफली, क्योंकि मेरा वीज़ा ही मतलब 3 to 4 months के लिए था। तो मैंने 3 to 4 months आई स्पेंट इन अ लैब इन एस एन यू, सोल नेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी है। No doubt they are very hardworking. Like the professors are very hardworking. Let me clear it. बच्चे मतलब जो स्टूडेंट्स लोग रहते हैं, दे आर ए बिट चिल्ड आउट, but there is some bit of uncomfortableness you will feel when you are working with Koreans. I don't want to be sound like a racist, but you like as me, like a person from India, or people from like a lot of people from Iraq or Middle East, they also travel to Korea for PhDs. Like one of my colleague was from Iran. I know few other people also from Bangladesh and Pakistan who were there, and you will feel this kind of like ingrained racism in the with the Koreans. Like they have a very different kind of attitude towards you, and in the same place when they are dealing with a white person from Europe or America, they will have a very different kind of dealings with you. You'll feel yeah. I mean, at least I always felt something. Someone is looking with judgmental eyes.
In
But
Korea?
that's my, yeah, in Korea. But that's my personal experience.
No,
So I'll,
to be honest,
yeah.
like I think I have read a lot of articles, and I have read a lot. I have watched a lot of videos, and in some videos I have even seen like it says like foreigners and dogs are not allowed. Even Indians and Pakistanis and dogs are not allowed. Some kind of
Dogs, probably. I think you are referring to the board in the Connaught Place where the Britishers put Indians and dogs are not allowed. But now in Korea, I have seen this. Indians and Pakistanis are not allowed because they created some ruckus. I don't know. Maybe it was completely race driven, or it was just because few group of people created some ruckus. But I heard this news that Indians and Pakistanis are not allowed.
Oh,
Yeah, I
really?
mean, this is very prevalent in I mean, at least I felt it was very prevalent in Korea. But my social interaction was good. I have met with a few Koreans outside the lab. In the lab it was so and so, but outside the lab, like in the streets, I have met some people. Few people are really nice. Like I was traveling back to India with a Korean couple. They were really nice. Like we were talking all the way for 8 hours, and he was asking me questions about India and more like the culture and where to travel and how to, what to eat, what not to eat. So we had a very nice discussion for the 8 hours.
So
Yeah,
basically, you cannot generalize.
exactly. You cannot
Yeah,
generalize.
but
Yeah,
in general, you will say a lot more racism and things than,
true, true.
for example, that you will experience in Europe or some other place, right?
Yeah, in Europe, you I've never faced it, but in Korea, I have felt it. I maybe it was not blunt on my face, but it was not right on my face, but you will feel
Subtle,
it, feel the
like
difference.
subtle
Yeah, exactly,
undercurrents
exactly.
of, like, okay, like for example, like let's say they will not be cooperative. And do you have any instance that you can think of, like,
Uh,
or where you felt that okay, maybe they were not treating you the right way, they were not cooperating or something like that, or something
well,
they say.
it's difficult to point out.
Mm,
It's difficult to point out, but you know that you feel something is wrong,
off.
like with the behavior and
Okay,
how they are treating you in the lab. So it's
okay.
difficult to pinpoint those points, but this is something you have to be there to feel it.
Okay. Would you recommend South Korea for PhD or?
I would not say. Like I know that when students like me who are looking for PhDs abroad, abroad, they usually prefer to go to. I mean, they look for everywhere in the world, and few people are also driven by Korean. I don't know if BTS and the K
या
drama are
भाई बीटीएस देखने वालों भाई सुन लो ये बात ठीक है कोरिया
this.
जितना दिखता है टीवी में अच्छा ठीक है
Exactly.
कोरिया इज लाइक ए रिफाइंड फॉर्म ऑफ बॉलीवुड मैं जितना देखा हूँ उसमें वो एक गाना वाना रहता है लव स्टोरी रोमांस चला देते हैं ठीक है जो स्टोरी
Yeah.
रियलिटी में हो भी नहीं सकता कुछ ऐसे ही चला देते हैं भाई के पॉप ड्रामा इज
Well,
ऑल
it's not that rainbows and it's not like these rainbows and roses there.
ओके ओके हाँ तो
It's
पीएचडी
it's
में
very different.
हाँ तो
Yeah, so
थोड़ा
I mean the work culture is very bad, I would say. Like they don't respect this work hour thing, which is very strict in Europe. Like you cannot enter the lab after 8 p.m. in Europe. At least I didn't have access. You need special permission to get into the lab. They really respect this 40 hours per week. But for me, since I work in a very specialized lab and we have very specific high magnetic field instruments for the security purpose, maybe they have put this in place. But I have also heard that like people are not allowed on weekends, and there is a very strict timing schedule for work hours. And
I can
but in
tell you
Korea they don't have it
I can tell
for
you
sure.
from my I can tell you from my experience that in
Yeah,
France, when I was doing the internship, so on the weekends you could not enter. So the
yeah,
badge won't work because they have all this.
exactly,
Yes, so it was also in the
exactly.
NRS lab.
Yeah, yeah, they take it very seriously. The labor laws are very strong here in Europe, all over Europe actually. And all the places have, because in Madrid also, when I was working, you need special permission to work on weekends. You cannot just enter like that. You need a written confirmation from the director. But in Korea they don't care. I mean, the professor, he literally texted me that I was in the lab on Saturday for some other I mean, I was coping up with the research, right? So I had to fulfill some targets, and he literally texted me that I'm happy that you're working on weekends. I was like, what the hell? I mean, not overwork, let's say, but they are celebrating the overwork actually. And in Korea, I think it's culturally that they really work hard. I think.
Do you think that the hard work is just the long hours or that really are effective
The efficiency, you mean?
efficiency?
Uh, um, well, for me, I don't think that working long hours is efficient. And what I have seen in Korea, they are. I mean, at least in my lab, it's. I mean, they could be more efficient, I would say. I mean, what I have felt that the thing which could be done in a day, that would be expanded over 5 days or a week. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a very toxic thing to celebrate long hour of working rather than efficient working.
So
And
basically, what you are saying is like they take 1 day's work to like 5 days, or
yeah.
they make it in such a way that it becomes longer, so they end up working long.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that means it's not really efficient. So it just,
Yeah, it's not efficient, I would say. Yeah.
I mean, do you agree with the Infosys CEO proposing 70 hours work?
Well, I would say you have to be more efficient than working longer.
I think
Yeah.
so. So we should send the message of Infosys CEO to to South Koreans. Maybe
Uh,
he is much more celebrated in South Korea.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
70 hours a work week. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. That's a good part. Okay, that's
but
good.
but but there are a lot of good things about Korea. Like the research is really like advanced, I would say. The instruments they have, the setup, and like I can say that the clean room I was working, I basically work in the clean room in South Korea, and it was one of the top class, I would say, what I have found in Europe. In Europe you will very rarely find a clean room, and but in Korea, like every, like the lab I was working in, they had their own clean room, so you can see how much the money they're pumping into the research. The facilities are really good, really good. Like I think for my research, the Korean experience set one of the nice expertise in my research area. It helped me a lot, I would say.
Clean room is like what? You are working in cheap manufacturing or what? What you?
Like clean room is not just for cheap manufacturing, but for lithography, I was working on nano antennas. So you need to fabricate these in the clean room. Clean room means ki dhul mitti se. Yeah,
Clean room basically is used in even pharmaceutical companies, even
yeah, exactly, exactly.
medical device companies,
Yeah,
where
not to
they,
contaminate.
yeah, it's a very controlled atmosphere. Basically, the
Um,
temperature is maintained between 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, and the
exactly.
humidity is also controlled. The the airflow is controlled, and there are
Yeah.
different classes of clean room, like, and based on the particle size of air. So basically, they have filters, HEPA filters at
HEPA
different
filters.
sizes, etc. They're all to control the particle size in the manufacturing
Yeah,
area is very
exactly.
less.
And I'll tell
But
you
it's
one
mm,
experience from Czech. I was also working in a clean room in Czech, and in few clean rooms, you are not allowed to even take pen and paper because they provide you special clean room notebooks which are lint free. Like when you
yeah.
write on papers, you the lints from the paper, they fly into the air and they contaminate the atmosphere. So yeah, so this is something to note.
That's also that's also happens in my medical device company,
Hmm.
because the paper has to be special kind that doesn't give you any particles that comes out
Exactly,
from them.
particulates. Yeah.
Yeah, and you cannot take pen. The pens are already in the clean room and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is actually ISO class 8 clean
Yeah.
room. There are
Yeah.
different classes.
Yeah.
ISO class
Exactly.
9 is, I think, is the one of the highest. Class 8, you have to wear gloves, beard mask, face mask,
Hmm.
everything
Yeah.
is. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's something a bit. We're going a bit technical. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Yeah, we need to come back to some France, right? You are in
Yeah.
Toulouse, so France का life कैसा लगा? मतलब दो benefits, दो advantage, disadvantage, overall experience France कैसा लगा?
Overall experience, well, I can say for this, for all the Europe experience, I would say the people are really nice. They are very cooperative, very very polite, I would say. I have had never any problem with this. They are very amazing people here who have helped me through all these processes, like visa ka process ho gaya, and medical insurance ho gaya, anything with the university thing. There are people who are there and they're really helpful in France, at least. And I know I've worked with so many cultures around Europe, and I think this applies to all of the Europe. And in France, basically, I think when you are coming to countries like France or Germany, at least you have to learn the language. This can be a very this can थोड़ा problem हो सकता है, and you may not enjoy this experience in a whole part, in fully. So I would suggest कि when you are coming, मैं खुद नहीं सीख पाया 3 साल से, because I mean, with a PhD it's very difficult to take up something else on the side. But I'm just suggesting that if you are coming for a PhD or masters in any of these countries, you have to learn a language. In Belgium and in Netherlands, it won't be a problem. Belgium, जैसे Brussels, south of Belgium हो गया, you can sorry, south of Belgium में you need French, but north of Belgium they speak very nice English. They are very friendly, and ये रहता है, this you can manage. Netherlands may be mostly English speaking है, so this won't be a problem. But these places like France and Germany, Spain. I worked in Madrid, which is more cosmopolitan, so you won't feel this. But still, in Spain, you will feel in Madrid, you will feel that you might need a bit of Spanish. And France, may everything is well organized. The public transport, everything. I mean, if you have a Google map and the internet, you can explore anything around
फ्रांस में
France.
स्ट्राइक्स के बारे में बात कर लो थोड़ा।
Well,
प्रोटेस्ट
France.
कितना मैं एक
Uh,
चीज ऑडियंस को यहाँ पे बोलना चाहता हूँ, जैसे इंडिया में भारत बंद होता है ना, लोग मतलब कुछ भी, पेट्रोल महंगा हो गया, आज ट्रेन बंद कर दो, चक्का जाम कर दो, कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा होता है ना भाई इंडिया में। तो ऐसा
uh,
कभी कभी हो जाता है इंडिया में, आई थिंक हर साल 1 या 2 दिन तो ऐसे ही लोग प्रोटेस्ट करके बंद कर देते हैं। मैं 4-5 साल ऑलमोस्ट हो गया आयरलैंड में रह रहा हूँ, 5 साल में एक भी दिन, 5 साल में एक भी ऐसा नहीं है आयरलैंड में लोगों ने यहाँ पे कुछ प्रोटेस्ट करके कंट्री को बंद कर दिया है, कभी नहीं हुआ
uh,
है 5 साल में। लेकिन मेरा
okay.
फ्रांस में 3 महीने का एक्सपीरियंस में, 3 महीने का एक्सपीरियंस में मैंने 2 दिन ऐसा देखा जिस दिन ट्रेन बंद थे, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट बंद हो गया है, बिकॉज ऑफ स्ट्राइक्स, नेशन वाइड
No.
स्ट्राइक्स। तो लेबर यूनियन वगैरह कभी भी कुछ भी करके
Yeah,
स्ट्राइक कर देते हैं।
exactly.
ये थोड़ा उसके बारे में बताओ आप, तो मतलब
Well, at Toulouse, the good thing about Toulouse is that like people are very considerate here. I have never faced this problem of the public transport stopping. And Toulouse, there is one thing is that the metros, these are automated. There are no pilots or no drivers in the
रियली,
metro trains. Yeah, exactly. This is
ओके,
I think this is very rare in
यूरोप,
probably there are few cities like this, but in Europe it's a bit rare.
डेफिनेटली हाँ।
Yeah, so the metros are still working, and metros cover a large area of the city itself, so you don't face the problem. But there are some sometimes the agitation and all this thing happen, demonstration happens, and the buses are stopped because buses are driven by the drivers, so buses are discontinued from time to time because of the protest. But all overall, I would say, as much as it happens in Paris ki north side mein jitna protest and demonstration hota hai, it's relatively less in Toulouse, I would say, in south of France.
So have you lived or stayed any during your period in the north of France by any chance?
No, no.
Have you?
I mean, I just went through Paris for a transit, but that is the most I have spent in Paris. It was for one or couple of hours.
आईफिल टावर तो देखा ही होगा ना?
Nay, not yet. It's
फ्रांस में रह के आईफिल टावर नहीं देखा है? Okay, so
no,
this is
not yet.
the, I think he is one of the rare guys, okay, who has been to France and he hasn't seen the Eiffel Tower, okay?
Uh, yeah.
वो,
Well, everyone says me that, but yeah, I haven't seen it. Maybe this is something I will do after my PhD.
okay, after PhD you celebrate your PhD thesis in
Exactly, under the Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower, okay.
Very
So the,
romantic
yeah,
with my thesis.
yeah. You don't want to come back to PhD again. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's a
Yeah.
positive side. What other things? Okay, what other things would you say? Like if you compare research, because you have also done research in IIT Madras,
Yes,
right?
yes. I was in
So,
a lab in IT Madras, and
how do you compare? Like this two. Like you have studied in NIT Rourkela, and then you
yes,
did
yes.
masters. Like not masters, it was research, right?
Yes, I was a junior research fellow in IT Madras.
So you have a fair bit of experience of research in
Yeah,
France
yes.
and Europe and basically India. How do you compare? Yeah.
Like in India, mostly people, like they get the stuff and they like plug and play kind of thing. That is my experience. Here what they do is they develop it really from the scratch. Like they buy the raw materials, they machine it, they do everything from the mechanical designing to the electrical designing. They do it everything from the scratch. And maybe this is a very specialized facility, that's why they need these kind of instruments are not available outside. But what my friends from India who are working with me here, they have experienced is that in India usually they buy the whole setup from the market or from abroad. But here they develop it from the scratch. But I think this is not a big deal because here also you need few instruments. Like let's say I work with some instruments like lasers or spectrometers. You have to buy, you cannot build it from the scratch. And research wise, I would say we are pretty like the depth of the research is pretty similar. Like the minds, I mean, people are talented on both sides, I would say. I worked with very talented people in IT Madras and also here. I think the only limitation that we have in India is the funding that we receive from the government, like, but here they fund quite really well, quite a big chunk of their GDP into the research. Other than that, I would say the research quality is very similar, I would say, at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So CNO India has a network of labs like CSIR, DRDO labs, etc. But if you compare that to CNRS labs, CNRS has a network of like around 1500 or 1500 plus labs
Hmm.
all around France, right? So
Yeah.
basically, if anyone is planning to do internship, okay, this is a tip from my side.
Hmm.
You can actually look at the list of the CNRS labs and apply for them.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, so compared to like comparing a CNRS lab, have you worked in a CSIR lab or have you seen any CSIR lab?
CSL lab, no.
No.
No, but I know a few of my friends were working in CSL labs.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to see like how the CNRS and CSIR compare.
Hmm.
So because, but anyways, I think CNRS, I have personally seen they have also good infrastructure and stuff.
Yes.
IIT Madras is at anywhere on the top of
IT Madras, yeah, exactly. Yeah. The
top
research is
notch.
really good there, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's fine so far. Okay, so I would like to ask one more thing. Like, did you what are some of the major problems that you faced in France, or any tips if someone is coming for a PhD or study to Europe, or France in
Hmm.
general?
In France, as I said, the major limitation that you would face is the language. And other than that, regarding your food habits, you won't have any problem. But yeah, definitely they say, I mean, here the fish and the eggs are considered vegetarian. I mean, it's not a big problem. Like, there is a lot of vegetarian choice here. And other than that, I don't think. And here the people are very laid back, and you'll have a very comfortable lifestyle compared to what we have in India, like complete hustle and bustle, and always in the rush. You won't feel it here. Yeah, there is another big problem. Not problem, but that is how it is in France. Like all the supermarkets and the grocery stores, they are closed on Sunday. Like everything on Sunday, you'll find very rarely few things are open. Otherwise, yeah, almost 98% of the establishments are closed. On Saturday, half they open for half a day, and on Sunday they are closed, which is very counterintuitive from an Indian perspective. Like
Yeah, this
on
is
Sunday we go basically with friends to like to the shop or to the markets to spend time, but here it is closed. So,
yeah, that's a major downside in not all European countries, but mainly
I think in
the
Germany,
Germany, Belgium,
yeah.
France, Luxembourg,
Yeah.
Netherlands, it's open. Netherlands
Hmm.
doesn't have a problem. But in
In
general,
Spain also it was open. On Sundays most of the things are open in
yeah,
Madrid. At least.
I think Spain. Yeah, I think I haven't seen things closed much on
Hmm.
Sundays in Spain. आप जो रिसर्च के लिए डिफरेंट डिफरेंट जगह ट्रैवल किए, पोलैंड हो
Hmm.
गया, स्पेन हो गया, मतलब आपको क्या, मतलब कौन सा कंट्री आपको सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग लगा, या फिर मतलब लोग अच्छे लगे ऐसा, या फिर बैड
Uh,
एक्सपीरियंस कुछ हो?
well, there was never a bad experience. जैसे कि मैं काफी टाइम आई हैव स्पेंट मोस्ट ऑफ माय रिसर्च डॉक्टरल टाइम मैड्रिड में मैंने स्पेंड किया एंड एब्सोल्युटली आई लव द लाइक द कंट्री स्पेन एंड द पीपल देयर.
स्पेन या फ्रांस? इफ
आई
आई
वुड
हैव टू
प्रेफर
चूज,
स्पेन.
मैं कल्चरली पूछ रहा हूँ बस।
कल्चरली स्पेन आई वुड से.
Uh,
बिकॉज जैसे कि हम लोग उड़िया हैं, राइट? वी आर उड़िया एंड वी हैव ए मे बी मोस्ट उड़िया पीपल विल नॉट एग्री, बट जैसे कि हम लोग लंच के बाद वी टेक सम टाइम टू स्लीप
I used
स्पेन
to
में.
do that. I used to do
Exactly.
that as a
I think
child after. Yeah,
A
like
lot of Odia do that.
yeah, like after I eat food, lunch. When I was a kid, I would say up to the high school. So I would sleep after I eat lunch for an hour and then
Exactly.
go back and study
Exactly.
tuition or do something, right?
Exactly.
That's
In
a pretty good
Spain, they
culture.
have this culture. They have like all the shops will be closed for few hours, couple of hours after the lunch time. It's called siesta time. They take a nap. It's called siesta. I think in all over Europe, it's very. The thing is that it's very laid back culture, and you will enjoy your stay here. In Poland, it was good. Like the people are kind, I would say. Language problem is everywhere. I have also spent a chunk of time in Milan, in Italy, and
Milan is
yeah,
fashion capital of the world. Well,
yeah,
Milan.
fashion capital. But like there are less Italian in Milan. I mean,
Okay.
it's a very cosmopolitan.
So,
And
to what do you know? What would be the typical rent like you would pay in Toulouse,
hmm.
comparatively? Like if I
Well, comparatively, Toulouse is the expensive. I would say Toulouse is expensive, quite expensive, and
compare to what?
Milan as a city,
Milan or
compared to, let's say, Madrid.
okay? Oh,
I
Toulouse is
would
more
say,
expensive than Madrid, is it?
yeah, yeah. There is a website called Numbeo. You know that Numbeo, right?
Yeah.
There is a website called Numbeo. You can compare. I felt that Toulouse was more expensive than Madrid, and Milan is probably equal or a little bit more expensive than Toulouse. And also, I've spent few time in Switzerland in Lausanne, which is way over expensive. And I mean, as far as I mean, when people ask me which place to visit in Europe, I definitely suggest them against Switzerland, because Switzerland is not for tourism. It's really expensive, like almost 8 or 9 times more expensive than other European cities. It's
Oh
very
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Yeah. Still, if I ask for an approximate price for rent in Toulouse,
rent, usually rent cost around 600 to 700 euros
if
in
you're not a
Toulouse.
student,
Yes, if you're not a student.
and how much
And
is a student?
student accounts, and for me, I'm paying around 370 or 400 euros, one studio quarter.
So you are, oh, it's a studio apartment, like studio.
Yeah, studio apartment.
So you have your own setup, on room,
Exactly,
on kitchen, on bathroom.
exactly. 22-meter square.
Wow, that's really a luxury here in Ireland. If I look at it, like I, that's
uh,
Ireland. Ireland is a mess in terms of housing. Like
yeah, there are some places which are very bad for housing and renting, like Munich and Berlin. Also, they are quite infamous for this thing. Like as you said, Ireland also.
no,
Galway is probably.
I don't think nothing compares to Ireland. Nothing
Yeah,
comes close to
I have
Ireland.
heard stories. Yeah.
Yeah, people like people have even rented the storehouse and they
Hmm.
charge 500, 600 euros for that, and maybe more.
Okay.
Even in Dublin, like some people have even set up bunk beds, and like for the each bunk bed, like in a small room that you said 22 square meter, right? In that
Yeah, yeah,
probably there will be some places where people set four bunk beds and then they're living like that. I mean, generally it's not allowed, but there are not a lot of checks on this.
exactly,
So
exactly.
Dublin, in terms of housing and accommodation, I saw a few people who are living. They're living as if like in urban slums. I mean, it's so small
Hmm.
rooms and things like that. To be honest, that's the housing crisis in Ireland is too much. But
Yeah.
what I hear from you, like 600, 700 euros, it's for what? Studio apartment?
Yes, yes, something similar, like 22 or 25 meters square.
That is amazing, actually. 600, 700 euros, probably that for that in Ireland, in Dublin, it would cost you somewhere around 1500 euros, and in Galway and Cork, it is somewhere around 1000 or to 1100 euros,
Okay,
maybe
okay.
1200 even.
For me, the measure of how expensive is the city is, I measure it mostly by how much money you spend on food for a dinner. Let's say, like in Toulouse, the expenditure would be something around 15 to 20 euros if you go outside for dining.
It's a three-course
Uh,
meal or two-course meal.
it's a three course, I would say. Yeah, it's a three course, 15 to 20 euros. Similarly, for the similar thing in Madrid, it will be something around 10 to 15. And in Switzerland, probably this should go up to 30 euros. And
Maybe
when you
more.
are,
Maybe more.
yeah, yeah, maybe more.
Yeah.
And in
Because 25 to 30, like for a three-course meal, is in Ireland. 25
oh,
euros.
okay,
Yeah, I believe in France, Switzerland, it would be much more than 30 euros.
yeah, yeah. And in Italy, it's normal, I would say. Like the groceries are a little bit cheaper than here in France, But if you are going, I mean, since I stayed in Milan, the prices are a little bit pumped up because
Yeah,
uh,
Italy is very diverse, right?
yeah,
North
exactly.
Italy,
It's
South
very
Italy.
difficult to generalize. So, I mean, but the groceries usually which are controlled by Carrefour or something like, which are a little bit like controlled pricing, they are, I would say they are quite little slightly cheaper than what we have in France. The Poland is cheap. I would say Poland is quite cheap compared to all these countries. I mean, the more eastern you travel in the Europe, the things get cheaper and cheaper. In Czech also, it was quite cheap. I would say the overall living and housing and the fooding, it was quite cheap.
तो अगर आप कि कोई मतलब अगर आपको सिलेक्ट करना होगा कंट्री जिसमें यू प्रेफर टू लिव इन अ लॉन्ग टर्म,
Like you are
पोलैंड,
talking about more culturally or the societal.
yeah, when you
Okay,
think would you prefer?
I would prefer Spain.
Spain, huh?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. चलो ठीक है. I think that was a very
yeah,
pretty good discussion so far.
yeah,
So I hope you like this discussion and like
yeah.
this
Of
interaction.
course, please. Yeah. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks Swaroop. Thanks for your
Yeah.
time.
Thanks, Suraj.
Um,
Yeah.